He walks away from the noise. The crowd behind him buzzes with gossip, judgment, and assumptions. They think they know him. They think he's cold, antisocial, arrogant, a loner who can't connect.
Antisocial.
But here's the truth.
Arrogant.
They'll never understand. He's not antisocial, he's just selective. He's not arrogant, he's aware. He doesn't hate people, he refuses to fake connections. Society loves labels. It needs them. It craves the comfort of putting people into neat little boxes.
Society loves
Alpha,
labels.
beta, introvert,
Alpha.
extrovert.
Beta.
But what if the label
Introvert.
you wear hides your
Extrovert.
truth? What if the world has been reading you wrong your entire life? Today, we're diving into one of the most misunderstood personalities in modern
Sigma
society,
male.
the Sigma male. Not a myth,
Trend.
not a trend. However, a mindset that has existed long before the internet gave it a name. And the question isn't whether Sigma males exist, it's why society refuses to understand them. Let's begin.
The myth of the Sigma. The internet has done something strange with the Sigma male archetype. Some romanticize it, turning it into an edgy fantasy of the brooding lone wolf who needs no one. Others mock it, calling it cringe, fake, or just another excuse for antisocial behavior. But here's what most people miss. The Sigma male isn't a social media invention. This archetype has existed throughout history. The philosophers who chose solitude over acclaim. The warriors who fought for principle, not glory. The inventors who worked in silence while the world slept. They didn't seek attention. They didn't compete for status. They simply operated outside the social hierarchy altogether. And that's what makes them so misunderstood. See, society is built on hierarchies. There's always a pecking order. Who's on top, who's at the bottom, who's climbing, who's falling. The alpha leads the pack. The beta supports the system. Everyone plays their role. But the Sigma, he doesn't play the game at all. He's not rebelling against the hierarchy. He's simply indifferent to it, and in a world obsessed with rank and status, indifference is the ultimate act of defiance. They walk alone not because they can't fit in, but because they refuse to conform. That's the myth. That's the reality, and that's why society will never fully grasp who they are.
How society misreads them. Let's talk about what happens when society encounters a Sigma male. Picture this. A man at work who doesn't engage in office politics. He doesn't gossip. He doesn't compete for the boss's approval. He shows up, does exceptional work, and leaves. His coworkers whisper, "He thinks he's better than us." But he doesn't. He just doesn't see the point in playing games that don't serve his purpose. Or imagine him in a social setting. He's quiet. He observes. He doesn't feel the need to fill every silence with words. People assume he's bored, uninterested, or worse, emotionless. But the truth? He's simply selective about where he invests his energy. Here's the disconnect. Society values visibility and validation. The Sigma male rejects both. His quiet nature is mistaken for arrogance. His detachment is seen as a lack of empathy. His focus on personal purpose is labeled as selfishness. And because he doesn't seek approval, people assume he doesn't care. But let's dig deeper into the psychology here. Most people operate from a place of external validation. They need likes, comments, recognition, praise. They shape their identity around what others think of them. The Sigma male, however, operates from internal validation. His sense of self doesn't depend on the crowd's opinion. He knows who he is. He knows what he values. And he doesn't need the world to agree. And this is deeply threatening in a society addicted to attention. People fear what they don't understand. And because Sigma males don't fit into any established system, society doesn't know how to handle them. so it does what it always does. It labels them as broken, difficult, cold. But the Sigma isn't broken. He's just built differently. The psychology of the Sigma male. So what actually drives a Sigma male? What makes him tick? Let's break it down. First, autonomy. The Sigma male values freedom above everything else. More than power, more than status, more than recognition. He'd rather have control over his own life than authority over others. While the Alpha seeks dominance, the Sigma seeks independence. And that's a crucial difference. Second, observation. Sigma males don't react impulsively. They watch, they analyze, they understand the dynamics of a room before they make a move. This makes them tactical thinkers, strategists who play the long game. They don't need to be the loudest voice in the room because they're too busy reading the room itself. Third, energy management. Social interaction drains them, not because they dislike people, but because most social exchanges feel performative. Small talk, forced smiles, shallow connections. To a Sigma, these interactions are exhausting because they lack substance. Solitude, on the other hand, recharges them. It's where they think, create, plan, and grow. Fourth, self-competition. Sigma males aren't trying to outdo others. They're trying to outdo themselves. They measure success by their own standards, not by society's scoreboard. This makes them internally driven rather than externally motivated. And finally, emotional intelligence. Here's where the misunderstanding deepens. People think Sigma males are emotionless, but they're not. They're deeply aware of their emotions. They just don't broadcast them. They don't overshare. They don't seek sympathy. They process internally with precision and control. Think of it this way. An alpha roars to show dominance. A Sigma roars only when necessary. And that's what makes it powerful. This isn't about being cold. It's about being intentional. And in a world that celebrates noise, intentionality looks like silence. Why society can't define them. Society operates on categories. It needs them to function. Alpha, beta, omega. These labels help people understand where they stand, who to follow, who to challenge. But the Sigma male defies categorization. And when something can't be categorized, society doesn't know what to do with it. In the workplace, he's called difficult. Why? Because he doesn't play by the unwritten rules of office hierarchy. He won't suck up to the boss. He won't fake enthusiasm for projects he doesn't believe in. He delivers results, but on his own terms. And to a system built on obedience, that makes him a problem. In relationships, he's called emotionally unavailable. Why? Because he won't perform emotional labor to satisfy someone else's need for constant reassurance. He values depth over drama. He's present, but not performative. And to a world that equates love with constant attention, that feels like neglect. In social circles, he's labeled a loner or a weirdo. Why? Because he doesn't show up to every party, doesn't engage in every group chat, doesn't feel the need to be seen everywhere. And in a society that measures worth by visibility, his absence feels like rejection. But here's the deeper truth. The Sigma male values authenticity over approval. He'd rather have one real conversation than 100 shallow ones. He'd rather spend time on what matters than waste it on what doesn't. And because the world is addicted to control over narratives, perceptions, behaviors, his freedom feels like a threat. They can't box you in, so they call you broken. But what if he's not broken? What if he's just operating on a frequency society hasn't learned to tune into yet? Real examples. Let's talk about some real-world examples. Throughout history, there have been individuals who embodied Sigma traits, and society misunderstood them too. Take Steve Jobs. Brilliant, visionary, but also called difficult, controlling, and obsessive. He didn't conform to corporate norms. He didn't seek approval. He built what he believed in regardless of what others thought. And while his peers called him crazy, history now calls him a genius. Or Keanu Reeves. Quiet, private, humble to the point where Hollywood doesn't know what to do with him. He doesn't chase fame. He doesn't engage in celebrity drama. He shows up, does the work, and disappears. And people respect him precisely because he doesn't perform for approval. Or Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary swordsman. He lived most of his life in solitude, rejecting the samurai code that demanded allegiance and hierarchy. He forged his own path, mastered his craft in silence, and became one of the most influential figures in martial philosophy. Even Elon Musk fits aspects of this archetype. Love him or hate him, he operates outside the boundaries of what society expects. He doesn't follow trends, he doesn't care about fitting in, he builds toward a vision most people think is impossible, and that alienates him as much as it elevates him. The pattern is clear. Society once misunderstood them, called them crazy, loners, cold. But history later recognized them as visionaries. The Sigma path is lonely, but it's the path of mastery. Lesson: the silent strength. So what's the lesson here? The Sigma male doesn't seek followers, yet he inspires others naturally. Not through loud proclamations or charismatic performances, but through quiet consistency, through the way he lives, works, and moves through the world with purpose. True strength isn't in domination, it's in direction. While others are busy proving themselves, he's busy improving himself. While others chase validation, he chases mastery. And while others fear being misunderstood, he finds peace in it. Because here's the thing, being misunderstood filters out the noise. It keeps away those who don't resonate with your frequency. It protects your energy from those who would drain it. And in that sense, being misunderstood isn't a burden, it's a gift. The Sigma's peace is his rebellion. He doesn't talk about his goals, he becomes them. He doesn't announce his plans, he executes them. And when the world finally notices, he's already 10 steps ahead. The misunderstood man doesn't need validation because he's already met himself. And once you've met yourself, truly met yourself, the opinions of others become background noise. So maybe the Sigma male isn't misunderstood after all. Maybe society just isn't ready to understand him. Maybe the world is still too attached to its hierarchies, its need for validation, its addiction to noise. But for those who recognize themselves in this message, the ones who've been called cold, difficult, distant, weird, know this: you're not broken. You're not wrong. You're just operating on a different level. And the fact that society can't label you, that's your power. If this message resonated with you, you might be one of them. Subscribe to discover more about the Sigma mindset, the quiet power that changes everything. Because the world may never understand you, but you don't need them to. You already understand yourself, and that's more than enough.